Hey everybody, Professor Snart checking in really quick here as we finish up the last unit, Unit 7, before our next workshop, which we're now into. Unit 8, and the genre here, like I mentioned before, is creative nonfiction. And you'll notice that what's provided here right off the bat is kind of fun because it's a local connection we have here at COD. One of our English faculty is a very well-known writer, but particularly in the creative nonfiction genre, Tom Montgomery Fate. If you ever have the chance to take a class from him, do so. I mean, he has real experience as a published working writer, and he's a really nice guy, so there's that too. So there's a couple of comments in the unit then that sort of reiterates what I've said before about creative nonfiction being this fairly accessible genre, at least it should be, because we're writing about ourselves or real events that have happened. So you're not trying to fabricate things like you would necessarily for other kinds of genres like short fiction or maybe drama or something like that. The trick, though, is to not just tell a story that's meaningful for you and hope that because it has meaning for you that will translate to the reader. You really have to take care to make sure that you tell your story in a way that it is meaningful for somebody else, so that the real events of your life or your situation, whatever you're talking about, evoke meaning for somebody else. So it's both easy but also very difficult at the same time. Make sure that you read through the electronic books that are provided here in the unit. They're both by Tom Montgomery Fate here from our COD English department, and they've been very successful books. So other readers have really appreciated these. He's appeared on, TV and radio and stuff like that. He's famous. And the essays in these books are really, really good. So they're also really good as examples of creative nonfiction. So before you jump into what you're writing, really take some time within these ebooks here. To be honest, they're not the entire books. They're, how these things are sometimes just fragmented. But even just reading little patches, it kind of gets your ear used to what this genre sounds like, the tone or the style, the approach, all of that kind of stuff. So it's great prep for writing your own creative nonfiction, because you're kind of in that mode of how do you tell this sort of story? How do you evoke meaning for someone other than yourself? And that's really what the goal is. So there's a quick review then, of course, of the workshop basics. Check into the due dates to remind yourself of how our workshops work as far as the posting date, to make sure your work is in on time as a file that works, that people can open and access. And then, of course, the response date for getting feedback in the form of a file that's marked up with comments or, highlighting different color text within the text of the creative nonfiction piece, and all that kind of stuff. And since we've been through a workshop now already, you really do realize how valuable that feedback is when it's specific, detailed throughout the document. It's not just loaded in the front or something that's right at the end. So now as the writer how feedback is most usefully received, and that gives you a really good insight in terms of providing feedback that's useful for the people in your group as well. So check those due dates and then be looking forward to kind of planning your time to get into some of the reading for the unit here, but also, of course, producing your own creative nonfiction. Okay, as always, if you have any questions, be in touch with me, and otherwise I look forward to reading everybody's work.